أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers in Islam and those yet to understand Islam, accept it as a way of living and help in establishing the world a beautiful place with peace, security, progress, and all that the love of mankind desires. The book is titled Muhammad Rasulullah and the People of the Book, His Benevolence, Kindness, Large-Heartedness, and the Quest for Peace. It is published by SBPRA, Houston, Texas, USA. It is 370 pages in 4 chapters. It's available on Amazon.com, .co.uk, and USA. The book is intended to stimulate mankind in pursuing and understanding the teachings of Muhammad Rasulullah. The book is an extract from the voluminous life history of the Holy Apostle. Describes and explains in brief the image of Muhammad Rasulullah as a messenger of Allah and a model of everything. I am extremely disturbed because the image of the Holy Apostle some of his followers are casting is highly distorted. And a complete misrepresentation. This book is a challenge, according to a reviewer in the United States of America, to peace initiatives that are rampant in the world. The world is created for comfort, joy, and peaceful coexistence under the directives and the governance of its creator. The first chapter in the book of Genesis explains and asserts that the New Testament, as a single entity, is silent on that. The Holy Quran ascertains the book of Genesis and gave further practical evidential examples and details. Man creates and is responsible for his fate and will certainly see the fruits of his obedience and disobedience in both worlds. Understanding the physical world is a keystone to believing that it is a creator and a possessor. It was certainly not created for mere play, fun, and amusement. Mankind springing from Adam and his wife Eve has been the subject matter and addressee in all revelations. He was depicted to be a servant, capable of obedience and disobedience. He was rewarded on obeying the Lord of the universe and punished on disobeying him. He was guided by promises, signs as evidences and the proofs, and the punishment and the guidance. Today we see the rainbow, the presumed relic of the ark, the mummified body of Pharaoh, the Kaaba and its surroundings, Jerusalem, etc. There are still 12 months in a year, with 4 to be held sacred, but not held sacred by the followers of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The history of the children of Israel is the backbone of our faith, belief in Allah and the Lord of the universe. There is no solid base and proof other than that. The lessons surrounding the then children of Israel civilization and the life is on belief, obedience, reward, and punishment. If the New Testament did not teach and emphasize that, the Holy Quran is full of that teaching and emphasis. Historically, we all know the peaceful and stable world after Moses, when finally his people obeyed the Lord of the universe under the caliphate of Joshua, the one of the two who obeyed Moses, spied and entered the promised land. The lessons on disobedience, the keystone in the Torah, immediately after the drowning of Pharaoh, was repeated again when the 500,000 then children of Israel never saw the promised land. We must obey Allah to live and see what he promised us, his bounties and the beauties. Again, it is on record that when Hilkiah read the Torah and the then children of Israel obeyed the law, they were able to overcome their enemies. An important and significant lesson in the teaching of Islam is the presence of the Levi clan of the then children of Israel in Madina, in their presumption that the last messenger will be sent from them. The role they played in informing the then civilization of his impending arrival and that they will believe in him and rule the world is not in the literature of the Jewish historians or in those who call themselves Christians. What is in their history texts is the trivial, impossible historicity that 600 Jews of the clan of Qurayza were slaughtered by the Holy Apostle. The book explains the role that the Levi clan of the children of Israel played in establishing the Islamic State in Medina. Without them, that could not have been achieved and been made possible. It was impossible to set rules and the regulations from a civilization devoid and ignorant of rules and the regulations. For doing that is dealing with them unjustly. The Jews, as explained by the Holy Quran, were a favored nation, for they held the law above other nations, and they were the shepherds of all other nations in that period. When their role ended in establishing the Islamic State, they had to leave Medina. That again is given distorted, twisted meaning, seeding hatred and the shedding of blood. The book calls the present Jewish race to understand that the only tribe who knew Muhammad Rasulullah physically and not spiritually were the Levi clan, who migrated from Palestine from an unknown date before the first destruction of Jerusalem. Therefore, the first step to peaceful coexistence and respecting the status and the role the then children of Israel played is stop overemphasizing and generalizing the name, and for them to follow the course the Holy Quran explained their positions. They are raised, honored, and held in high esteem in the Quran more than that in the Torah. They must bring a stop to this nuisance, using the argument in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 141. That was a nation that has passed away. They shall receive the reward of what they have earned, and you of what you earn, and they will not be questioned of what they used to do. If there any sense and justification accusing the then children of Israel of what they did under Iradatul Kauniya Dini, this behavior of the followers of the Holy Apostle is a proof and evidence of their ignorance. They must be stopped by those yet accept Islam. For those who have accepted Islam have failed to do that. They cannot do that, for they do not know and blocked competitively any means of knowing that. I told my experience in the book with the Jews in Europe and other European tribes. A peaceful, dignified, secured world rests on their hands. They don't hate Islam, but only are obstructed, distracted, and confused by the behavior, actions, and attitude of the followers of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I am strongly of the opinion that if the true image of the Holy Apostle is explained and cast on our screens and the minds, the world will enjoy peace, prosperity, and it will be stable. A sincere Muslim is expected to follow the actions of Muhammad Rasulullah, inch by inch and measure by measure. He has warned his followers several times that any action that does not conform to his action and that of his radically guided Sahabas is void. The world will ever remain in turmoil, confusion, without dignity, security. Impoverishment will persist. Those who do not believe in him, by joining him in prayers, fasting, giving out the annual zakat, and perform the annual pilgrimage should behave and live in the manner he lived with their predecessors. The problem of the world is facing is due to the misconstrued notion that only those observing the rituals brought in the practice by the Holy Apostle are to obey him. If that is so, then Allah would not have described him as a message to mankind and his message a universal one. The fact that he was sent as a message to mankind was evident from the confession of his cousins and the uncles who tortured him for 13 years and drove him out of Mecca. On his triumphant entry into Mecca 8 years after his forcible evacuation, he addressed his cousins and uncles. "O Quraysh, what do you think I am about to do with you?" They replied, "We hope for the best. You are a noble brother, son of a noble brother." The Holy Apostle appeased them. "I say to you what Joseph said to his brothers, have no fear this day. Go your way, for you are all free. Is this in the book of Genesis or not? Stop. Whatever you say about the Holy Quran, we agree. Muhammad copied from the Torah, but let us establish peace. If in the final sermon of the Holy Apostle, he related his actions, behavior, belief in accordance with the actions of belief of a Jewish prophet, the time has certainly come to check the followers of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, given to distorting his teaching and the way of life. It is impossible for a way of life, as explained before, established on the springboard and the platform of previous lessons, prove signs and evidences to be rejected by those who believe in that. It's impossible. The Holy Quran is nothing but a true shadow of the life history of civilization in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from Adam to Jesus, son of Maryam. Islam is certainly a universal call to salvation, peace, security, prosperity, and all that mankind aspires and needs. It is not to be monopolized in the manner Allah allowed only the Levi clan to recite the Torah. There is distinction between Arabic language and an Arab, between name and appellations. There is also a distinction between that group of knowledge seekers attended by the Holy Apostle and the other not attended by him. Islam is in that discussion group attended by the Holy Apostle. In the Arabic language he spoke, given equal right, dignity, position, opportunity to learn, accept and reject to all the attendees. The Holy Apostle describes the Holy Quran as he who pronounces judgment according to it is just, and he who invites people to it guides them to the straight path. What am I doing, my brothers? I am pronouncing judgment according to it, that the problem of the world is through misinterpretation of the Holy Quran, monopolized by a certain race, the Arabs, supported by West and Europe, thinking that the life of Muhammad is the final message, similar to only the Levites have the right to read the Torah. It's not so. We are all equal on that important aspect of Islam, requesting for, seeking, precipitating and giving peace, security, stability and dignity of mankind. How can only one person lead on that? It's impossible. It's impossible. Therefore, we have to understand the role of the Holy Quran. There is no distinction. There is no barrier. We are all equal. A black man, as said by the Holy Apostle, will in the long run lead. He will tell the world, this is the way out. If he tells the world, follow the Torah, follow the Injil, follow the Holy Quran, he should be respected. That's what I'm doing. If those who aren't prevented and sought for understand the Islam in its universality maintain their indifference, not listening and using common sense, challenging those distracting them from answering Islam, it is chasing shadow and a dream of a peaceable, secure and dignified world. The Chinese government understood that and approved the translation of this book in their language, but that is not enough according to 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 20. God's kingdom is not just a lot of words, it's power. The book is there. But are the Muslims challenged to understand the book and to stop their ignorance and illiteracy and hatred, that they must practice the Sunnah? That is the key of making the world stable and prosperity. The Muslims are illiterate and ignorant, and unless they are hammered to obey, they will never obey. It is drawing water for a mirage to think of a peaceful, dignified, and stable, prosperous world. I hope those Western and European powers, including the Pope, looking for peace, will give an ear to the contents of the book and act accordingly, since it is its root in the Old and the New Testaments. Whatever good is in the previous scriptures is also in the Holy Quran. Its better contents and presentation should not be denied and rejected. That is the truth. Because Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never rejected what the then Levi clan told him about the Sharee'a. Why are we going to reject him today? That is my argument and my presentation. Assalamu alaikum.
recording.